2 sets of fish. The lift opens. The corridor pulls you in. Clean carpet, air-conditioned space. You can't believe how well they maintain this place. You can't believe you can afford to live here. You enter your apartment at precisely 8:03 p.m. You know this because a feminized computer voice tells you so. The pre-programmed smart lighting of your smart home kicks in like a good boy. You slump down at your workstation, knowing even as you do that it is a mistake. You won't get back up. You know this. Everybody knows this. You're supposed to maintain that running on empty momentum right up until the end. Shoes off, fresh clothes, state regardless. Drink, caffeine, alcohol, depends on circumstances. Do the bare essential and then get comfortable. Never mind what the hell you are doing at the workstation. Aptly named because this domestic PC sees more work than pleasure, and you are far too old for Sex Hub and don't even know what Ego Book is. And you're stuck here now for at least 10 minutes. The cold is inside you, the rain close behind, and that cold has subdued your bones. The only good thing is that all the unexpected and weird developments of the day, from the point that the light changed and your suspect vanished and the telephone rang and teller spoke out, to just now in the subterranean parking bay, have robbed you of your apathy and time to redose on a thorium. Because, though you told yourself you would fight it, you were probably lying to yourself. And even if you were telling the truth, it would have been something else, some lesser drug. So there's that. You don't have to worry about that. But the questions and images are swimming around in your head and vying for space. You're the kind of person who has always struggled to switch off after work, except one short spell as an egg collector at a snake farm when you dropped out of college. But this business would fuck over anybody. So many questions, and you had plenty long ago outside the bookshop on a stakeout of ambiguous duration. The bookkeeper, Samara, the possibility of a hidden room, another hidden room, but now other cases have collided with the one that vexed you, and those pieces don't seem to fit. A spastic jigsaw puzzle of faded pieces. You are distracted by dual lights cutting across the night sky. Military helicopters, you guess from the color and placement of the lights. Your high-rise glass mutes them. The picture of your would-be daughter is framed by silver, the monitor by chrome, and the fish tank is its own entity. The reflection in the windows is pleasing, but now the twin lights have joined the fish, and the fish seem to have made a special space for them, accommodated them. They swim, the helicopters welcoming them into the herd, their long-lost brethren. At a glance, it is hard to tell those distant lights, shrouded in night and density, and those pale reflections of exotic and expensive fish apart. They are all pale, drained of their color and equally matched inside and outside of the glass. You watch for a while and forget you are looking at two images superimposed, a trick of light and reflection, and slowed by narcotic ghosts, and believe for a while you are just watching the one tank floating magically outside your window. All the pieces fit, and for a blissful few moments you can forget both missing girls, the one in the frame and the one in the cell. The frame is expensive, but occupied only by the mass-produced placeholder it came with. You think that you may freak your partner out a little if you place him in a fancy frame next to your PC. Right now, Samara is no obsession, merely a professional fixation. However, you do sometimes ponder how much she occupies the space inside your mind allocated to that non-existent offspring, and whether she is in danger of barreling into something like the girl from the lost case back in your Vice Squad days, that murkiest yet sharpest of memories. You access the police database that you shouldn't still have access to and start working the mugshots, monochrome and pale silver. The devil's in the details. You feel as if you have seen these faces before, one and all. The sound makes you jump invisibly and silently out of your skin. The coffee machine warming up, as it's programmed to. The blue light on its base, a lone eye in the dark of the kitchen. A decision has to be made. Do you sleep, drink that coffee when the system informs you it is cooked, or do you? Another idea has to be faced, that perhaps the real source of your gargantuan unease is that the bookkeeper is no longer looking like your prime suspect, the most sinister player in this production. There are darker nodes on the network, bad actors at play. He may no longer be the most mysterious even. And this also begs questions about your instincts, be they fading with age? You know all these strings are tangled into one big rope which threatens to hang you. But you have to zero in on one thread nonetheless, if you are to have any chance whatsoever of unpicking it. Finding the sign over the hospital bed is obviously a game changer, so maybe a better understanding of that is required. Perhaps you told Teller to quit his investigation of that strand a little too soon. Perhaps he should have made the trip to Montana after all. Samara had been your priority, obsession, guilt complex, call it what you will, ever since her out-of-their-element parents drifted into your office like context gone wrong. The mother clutching a hanky, the father being able to meet eyes with any object in the office but you. Ghosts who had remembered their skin. The girl had disappeared on her way home from an unknown location. Her bedroom had led you to the sign, and the sign had led you to the bookshop. You needed an expert opinion. Now you're not even convinced that that lead is good, that the bookkeeper is even involved, let alone culpable, let alone the jailer of his own walls which hold this girl you have only seen in photographs. Is she alive? Looking out at the city, it is hard to believe anybody is still alive out there. Perhaps only the generators breathe now, pumping the blood around the system powered by a far-off desert somewhere, full of even bigger generators. Semi-estranged Chinese brothers, Yu Ping and Yu Peng, had been warring over the percentages of the lion's share of Chinatown, which they used to control together or apart, but at least not at war. Unfortunately, this schism of brotherly love occurred when they were already involved in a war with the Irish mob, if there really was such a thing outside of Ireland. Suffice to say, they are a big enough mini army of plastic paddles to make moves and challenge the brothers. So a lot of violent and complicated shit happened, with people not being quite sure who was on whose side and exactly what they were fighting over. Until one day, somebody, assumedly the Irish brothers, hung Yu Ping from a ventilation shaft in the east side of his own building. Although, as Teller pointed out, it was a form of poetic justice, considering he brutalized a Korean family to take possession 2 or 3 years earlier. Meanwhile, Yu Pang had hired you both, to try and find out what his brother's interest in a gaming cafe 3 miles outside of Chinatown was. But this, all of this, and none of this was ever anything to do with Samara or her heartbroken parents, until that strung-out duty nurse discovered that most esoteric of symbols sprayed above the fallen triad's underfunded hospital bed, because that sign had been stamped in multiple places on the missing girl's case. And you know more with every passing second that you should have let Teller follow his instincts from there to that small town in Montana. You rub your eyes, cloud them in black, followed intricate geometric patterns of red and blue. You see things with your eyes open, then stuttering through your closing eyes, caves with cave paintings seen only by candle flickers, and a sheriff laughing in slow motion. But this parody isn't real, and you wonder if you are falling asleep. You wonder if you are losing your mind. The coffee pops, and you take yourself to the bathroom, passing through a cold spot on the way. A reflection makes you jolt. You really should be asleep. In the bathroom, you look into the floor-to-ceiling mirror and don't recognize yourself. You're not even convinced that this is what you currently look like. Your eyes might be misled by the filter of the day and peripheral effects of synthetics. This room is too bright, and you try to avoid it. You don't even possess the strength to tell the system to drop it a few octaves of orange gold. You slump into your sofa. It's softer than you remember it. You stare at the superimposed fish tank, rear projected and floating inside your apartment and out. There seems to be more fish. Their colors have changed. You recall the shadowy figure in the parking bay. You had just locked your car, glanced toward the door marked exit, when you saw someone move between 2 rows of cars. He was perhaps carrying something. You only saw him for a moment, but there was something off about his movements. It didn't help that you didn't see him again. He wasn't moving in the direction of the exit, and you didn't hear a car door. You drift into sleep and dream of that sheriff. His appearance extended this time, his laughter unchanged, silent and ignorant and spiteful. And for a moment you realize you are dreaming and suspect you have dreamt this dream before. But soon you forget this as the dream takes hold once more, and it lasts for many, many hours. More hours than the sleep that houses it, or even the night which holds the sleep.